What is shaking, y'all? Episode 145, Golden Mike Live with your boy, Mark Cordone. No, this is not my cousin. Maybe. No, this is not my
We're
sister.
all
Could
related.
be. Could be. Maybe. The Schlueters and the Cordones run deep in the Philippines, people. We hope you're having a good day. My name is Mark Cordone, positive psychology coach, founder of the Make Money Coaching Program, chief disruptive officer of the Joy Revolution. But more importantly, I get to ask people on a regular basis two things, and I'm going to ask my guest that in a second. My guest today is going to talk about not uncool things today, but cool things. And you know what's
Super
the
cool.
coolest thing? Productivity. Productivity is the coolest. Apryl Schlueter, it's good to have you back on the show. Author, chief energy officer. Good God, what is it that you don't do? Like super, it's not the Groundlings. Second City. You're rolling deep with Second City now, right? Doing improv work.
IO is where I graduated, and I'm like, woo! I'm a improv whatever now.
You
Yay!
are. You are.
A lot of this conversation is going to be completely improvised. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but yeah, productivity. We'll jam with it. It was my
Um,
idea, right?
Amazing. We already got Jorge from Puerto Rico tuning in. We've missed you the past couple weeks, Jorge. Good to
Oh,
see you, brother. Jorge saying hi to you. Yeah, Schluter. Schluter. Jorge
oh.
saying hi. Good to see you, Jorge. We're coming to Puerto Rico to see you soon, buddy. So let's get right there because Schluter, you've done this with me a million times.
A million, really?
It's
It feels
100,501 times. Well,
like
we've done this a lot. So, um, I asked two basic questions of all my guests. How happy are you today, and how much meaning are you living in?
okay. How happy am I today? Question one is pretty darn happy because I was hungover all day yesterday.
Booyakasha! Ba, ba,
Because I
ba,
had too
ba.
much fun for my birthday, which
Yeah.
am now 39. Believe it,
Yes,
because it's true, and I'm like claiming it and owning it, unlike 10 years ago when I was like, I'm 29, I'm turning 30.
dude.
No,
Asian don't raisin,
39,
baby.
turning motherfucking 40.
Yeah.
And
Hey, let me ask you this: Do you still get carded?
I'm not getting carded as much, and it's making me very sad.
Oh no! That's not
No,
good.
it's
When
just
you
like, I know, I'm like, come on.
card me, card me.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, and then, they'll card me, but then they won't card my husband, who's 2 days younger than me, and I'm like, come on. That's totally sexist or whatever. Like, that's not cool. But, anyways, well, I guess that's fine. I mean, that could also be that he just looks old and I don't. I don't know. Either way, but it's just like I like getting carded and I don't like getting carded. It's a very mixed bag right now.
I
But
love getting carded. I
you like
always
getting
will
carded?
love getting carded. Yes, because like I had this thing when I was like younger. I don't know about you, but like I looked by far like the youngest kid in the class. Like I looked younger than everybody else. Then when I went to college, I looked younger than everybody else. And now that I'm like older, I'm cool looking younger than everybody else now.
Yes,
Like
it
I'm
is the
so
Asian
cool with
gift.
it.
It is the Asian gift. We look good, and then like 50 or something hits, and then it's like.
Yeah, we
So,
then we look like a bag of wet clothes.
so
Here's
we
what we're at, people. So,
Mhm.
so you're doing well. What about meaning and purpose?
Meaning and purpose. Oh, so I can read this to you. So for most people who have known me, I have been, a coach, author,
Yeah.
speaker, doing all these things, doing these fun things, mom, all of the things. But I kind of went dark this whole winter. I might have like been on a little alumni and I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling like crap right now." And so I kind of went in hiding a little
Mm-hmm.
bit over the winter and it was great because it was crappy outside here in Chicago, lots of
Yeah.
snow, lots of polar vortexes. It snowed like 2 days ago, which is crazy. But I started thinking about
It's
this.
May.
Yeah, it was we got like 3 inches maybe on the 28th or something, 27th. It was crazy.
Beto,
Um,
it's May.
it is. Yeah. That's how Chicago does it. You can't you just
Wow, you guys just can't.
second you get too excited, they will throw it in your face. Like, nuh-uh, we're not gone.
Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh. So I have been I've been reshifting like the purpose for my business. And yes, I'm going to continue doing the things that I do,
Yeah.
but I am all of a sudden at this place where I want to play this even bigger game, which is kind of scary because I still don't to this day not know all the details. Um, and I have to like pull it up because I texted it to so many people, and I'm just gonna read it to you because this is where I am going when I can find it. I'm like, who did I talk to? I have so many like birthday texts from people, which is thank you so much. It makes me so happy. But now it's like, who was I talking to? Blah blah blah. Hold on. Let me just text somebody I know. Duh. Okay. So this is
I love how
what
you're taking this. I love how you're taking the showtime to make personals and texts.
No, I'm not texting.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Kidding.
All right. Ready? Here it is. Okay. The Cheerful Mind is a lifestyle brand committed to cultivating a culture of real confidence through productivity, passion, and play. Boom. That's my new mission statement. Ish. There's a little bit more that to explain like what that means, but it's I'm slowly trying to really figure out because when I look at the work that I do, it's all a confidence game, right? And I know it's something that I didn't have enough of when I was younger. I've really, really grown into accepting myself for who I am, and I think that there's a lot of people in the world that have been basically trying to cultivate this idea of success that is dictated by something external to them. And I think this is stuff that we've talked about before, right? But I don't even know, do I even want to go here? I'm thinking about the fact that the media is hands down our number one way to kind of identify as, who we are in society. It influences how we think. It influences what we think is cool. It influences what we think success is. It just influences us. And, some of it's entertainment. It makes us happy, all of these things. But there's just so much great stuff out there that's being hidden by some of this like really fake shit. And I'm tired of it. Like, reality TV is not real. I just recently spent like a month and a half auditioning for a game show, and I think that the reason that I did it was because they didn't like my answer to what I would do with the money, and I was being completely honest, but they were like, "Oh, is there something else you want to do?" Because they wanted me to be more relatable. But like, I really do think that if I won money on a game show, I would spend it on helping other people. Like, why is that wrong? So I've just been kind of like triggered by just the way that media kind of shapes is shaped by what sells. And I want to change that narrative. And I was like telling my coach, I'm like, I want to have a Wikipedia page that when I die, people are like, who is this chick? Like, this is the person who revolutionized like the media to a more positive, real, authentic space and blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of where I'm going. TBD on what that looks like. So maybe you'll have to have me on like a year from now and see what happens. But I'm trying to bring light to all the amazing people that I've met, even just doing improv, and so many gifted, talented people that aren't getting a voice. And I want to be the person that makes their voice seen and heard. So
the thing that I love the most about what you're going to do with this positive media bent is I love that the first signing of your positive media bent is the Golden Mic Live. The Golden Mic Live is going on your pod. You're like, what? And I love that you just committed in front of everyone that the Golden Mic Live is going to your new station. So anyways, Alyssa Twistlight is joining us. Hello, amazing humans, as she likes to say. Hey, takes one to know one. Game recognized game, sister. Alyssa, it's nice to see you. Say hi to April, Alyssa, and give her some hearts. So for those of you who are in the middle right now of this sort of shift and you're still feeling the meaning and the purpose changing, that's all good in the neighborhood. Or for those of you who are like, you know what, Cordone, you know what, Schlueter, I'm not totally feeling it today. That's cool too. That's part of your hero's journey. Or for those of you who are firing at full capacity, meaning pretty much what Schlueter said plus some positive psychology, feeling good and functioning at full capacity. That's productivity and happiness brought together. Show us some hearts. Show us some hearts. Let us know that your heart is beating. Alyssa, I know that you're typing to us, but we can't type back right now because we're making a heart shape with our fingers. So when we make a heart shape with your fingers, can you hit the heart button down there? Let us know that you're alive. I'm going to put you on screen right now. Oh, there you go. Hey, April. She's saying hi to you. Alyssa, I just did the shift. Friends, what an experience. So Alyssa's going through the shift as well. It seems like a lot of us are catching on to the schemes and the bull crap that's going on with sort of the media has us make us not all media, but some media make us feel a certain way about ourselves, and then the commercials are products that say you'll feel better if you buy this product. Isn't it funny that that's the way that it goes down? And April, it's really cool that you're moving in this kind of direction. We said that we were going to improvise this show today. So like, no, it's not wrong at all. Now let's just jump there. Let's jump to the very end. I've got about 9 wow faces of you. If you want to make another one, we can make one because I'm gonna have a wow face compilation at the end of the year. So if you want to let's make a wow face. Hit that wow face button, everybody. That is. I feel like I put a whole sandwich in that mouth there. Let me put a sandwich in there.
Wow.
Wow. And by the way, people, April is wearing clothes. We did a clothes check to make sure that she was clothed.
Like here are my clothes. This is a little low cut. There it is.
This is not a tryout for Naked and Afraid.
Show, apparently.
This is not we are all fully clothed. Stick around, by the way. It is the end of a 30-day dance challenge, and I think we might do something special at the end of today's episode. But going in there, like, you did kind of go into a dark period, right? And you just came out, and it just happens to be your birthday, you know? And so with you, what was going internally to go into a dark period? Because last time we talked, like, you had a really full schedule. You have a lot of clients. You have a lot going on that would say, "Hey, I made it. You know, I made it out to a place where not a lot of coaches make it to. A lot of coaches would envy where you were or where you are in your business, and then to go dark again and to be like, okay, let's go and revisit again. What was the impetus to go dark and go through a contemplative phase?
I think, last October, and I've been very vocal about this, there was a point where I was in New York, took a trip on my own. What was I there for? I'm already forgetting. See, there was just so much that was going on. Exactly. And
it's because you're 40 plus.
I've got senior moments. So I was actually I do these live videos on Instagram, and so I made this little show, which is basically like online diary of just my thoughts and things that help me, things that I'm going through, whatever. I call it authentic living because I'm like, I want to be real. And I'm like sitting in my hotel room on my bed, and I had just watched this video that my former coach was sharing about, because she's a business coach, and I think there was a post that I saw on her Facebook page that was talking about, why aren't you making the money that you want to be making? And money has always been a huge trigger for me because I was raised just like many Filipino or Asian cultured children who are like, you have to become a doctor, lawyer, engineer. The money is where the happiness is, and you have to work hard to get to that job. And to this day, I haven't necessarily made the same amount of money that I was making in my previous 9 to 5. And I have some barriers. One, I'm a mom of 2 kids, soon to, be 10 and 8. And I neglected them a lot in my their earlier life because I was working, and I vowed to never do that again. And 2, because I have a autoimmune disease that basically says if I'm stressed out too much, then I'll go bald. And I've been working really hard for this hair. So I'm kind of but I choose to live a life that, is a little bit slower than it used to be. And it's been a really hard journey for me because sometimes I look at my, bank account, my business bank account, and I'm like, man, what the heck am I doing? I'm spending a lot of money and I'm not making the money that I want to. And I kind of broke down in that video. And it's not because, so of course, like there's so many things that I know I can do, but I also just have these limitations and these priorities that I'm not willing to sacrifice. And I'm like, in the video, I was saying, if I want to continue to be productive. I still want to move at lightning speed because I think I do move very, very fast, regardless of, whatever's happening. I just can take on so much, but it's not to the level that it was 5 years ago, and trying to find that new thing. So, I had to I kind of outed myself about this whole money thing. And I, had talks with my coach about it, and she was like, okay, let's take this from a very high level. April, you are completely capable of making all the money and doing all those things. What is stopping you? And, I even have it written down. It was like, look at yourself as a case study. And it says, the question is, what is holding me back from making the money that I want? And one of the first things that I did was I wrote down my list of commitments. And there were like 30 things on that list. Different things that I volunteer for, different things that I lead, different programs that I run, the fact that I have kids, the fact that I'm a wife, the fact that I have a house to maintain, like all of these workout things that I do, different workshops and different partnerships I have with all these people. And it was too much. And I basically am looking at 2019 as this exploration of wealth because, I do want to make more money, but the way that I was operating, as somebody who's super productive, I was doing too much. I had an audiobook that I had to publish that I should have gotten out last year and I just couldn't. And then I signed up for a body language training and I did all these things because I want to do them because they're fun. Yeah. I was doing improv all last year, but it was too much. And of course,
and by the way, improv is a lifestyle. You put in a lot of time to improv.
Yeah,
it's like roller derby, right? You're either out or you're in. There's no dabbling in improv with the way that you're doing it, April.
Yeah, so it was like I was doing everything 110%, and still less than what I used to do, but it was still so much. And I would push off it was a great excuse for me to not go and sell my stuff. But then it was like, I don't know, there's still something more that I want to do. And does it all have to be about coaching? Because I do like to change things up every few years. Yeah. And I'm at that 4-year point in my business. And so trying to think about, how can I help people? How can I do this? Because I do understand that coaching, is a premium thing for people to elect to do sometimes. It is a big investment in yourself, and it pays off more than what you're investing. But sometimes people don't have the means to do that. So now I'm thinking, all right, I want to still influence people, and I need to do it in a way that it's going to be accessible for them, because it's not fair that people who have money can get the coaching that they need, but the people who don't, which is why I'm kind of on this media path and trying to figure out how to do things. And so can I be more productive by doing less? I've been, checking things off on my list, finished my audiobook, almost done with my body language training.
Oh, congratulations.
Said, no to a lot of commitments of people wanting me to do things for them. And it's getting better. I'm making more time. And mind you, I'm not even really marketing myself. It's just I'm speaking and people want to engage in conversation, and that's how I'm getting clients right now. I'm not really going out there saying hey, I'm looking for clients. They're coming, which is great. Yeah. But it's continuing this exploration. So long-winded answer to whatever your question was, but I think, that dark period kind of gave me this opportunity. And people might look at that and say oh, this is the time that you need to talk to people. And of course I was talking to people, but I was consciously choosing to not do the behaviors that I've been doing for almost all my life. I stopped making plans with people. I was just waiting for them to reach out to me, which was a very interesting experiment to see how much of an impact it is for the fact that I'm so good with follow through. But just realizing that there are certain things that I was doing because it's part of my nature. But even if I said no to it and took a break a little bit and allowed myself to explore, it opened up doors for me to play an even bigger game, which is what you'll probably see if you continue to follow me for the next 2 to 3 years. It might take me a while to get this up and running, but I'm looking at potentially pitching for funding and doing all that stuff and getting people to pay to make this thing happen. So
And amazing. And for Azriela, Donna Ray, and everyone else that's watching right now, you missed the huge announcement that April is doing a media push for social good. And I can't be more proud to be the first show that you pull into your social your media conglomerate. The golden mic is going to April's network. We're going global, baby.
we're gonna get started.
April's like, shut the F up, cousin.
No, you're good.
Shut
You're
up,
good.
cousin.
No, you're
So when you went to the dark phase, and I'm not going to assume that you've come out of it, but whenever you go into contemplation, whenever you draw the Hanged Man card, and you go into that contemplation stage, what was it that you came out of it with this time around?
I mean, I think
Aside from the ideas of, well, I really want to make an even bigger impact.
Yeah.
Without burning myself out doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is really healthy to kind of, when I say dark, it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm hiding in a cave and I don't want to talk to anyone. It really just was like I didn't feel motivated to just be out there. I spent a lot of last year being very, very visible, very seen, and I just was like, no,
Yep.
I'm just gonna take some time for myself and be in my PJs all day, every day, and not wash my hands. Those things, and I know that some people are like, man, the Chicago winters are the worst. And I don't want to be there, but like that's the perfect time to go dark because everyone in Chicago goes quiet. And then all of a sudden April hits or the first 70-degree day hits and everyone's like, whoa, I'm ready. And so there's a lot of activity. And I think that there's benefit in just kind of going quiet because in that quiet, it's almost like a season-long meditative state, right? And I don't meditate regularly, or I try to, I try to when other people are like trying to challenge themselves to do it as a regular practice, but it's not something that I necessarily love to do, but I kind of take a bigger chunk. And so I think it is that piece of understanding that that's part of the rest, right? If we had to go back to our theme for the show about productivity is sexy, like people don't think about productivity being like, hey, this is like, I want to be productive, right? And my coach will tell me, like, April, like, I know that you're all about productivity, but, like, it's just not sexy. And I was like, all right, that's a challenge. I'm going to make it sexy. But people think about productivity, and it's always about, like, getting more things done and, like, hustling and grinding and doing more and doing it all. And that's not what it's about. That's just going to lead you to burnout. That's just going to lead you to being miserable. And, yes, you can have a very, very full life. But especially for the people who I talk to, they're extremely high functioning and they want to do a lot. But the thing is that, like, you have to rest in that. And whether it means that you just take a 5-minute break or you take a season-long break like I did, it's what's going to fuel you to be more productive later.
Hey, if God even rested on the seventh day, we can too.
Yes.
So let's talk about this idea of productivity. I think you did a really good job talking about maybe some misnomers of what people might think productivity is. And so when we're talking about productivity being sexy, like what is your definition of productivity?
Let me just make
to all the people who are currently procrastinating at work, what would you tell them productivity is?
And it's so funny because I feel like every word that exists in the world is subjective, right?
Yeah.
I think people who tend to be attracted to the concept of productivity, they tend to be high achievers. They tend to want to dabble in a lot of different things, not in that almost sounded like that was going to be like sexual or something, but
well, it's only called productivity is sexy. Like, I wonder who framed that.
So I think there's, and this is the thing that I struggle with. It's like, you want productivity to be something that somebody desires from even like a marketing and business standpoint, right? Like, there are people who like just get things done and they're successful, but you think productivity is like the vehicle, right? Productivity is the vehicle that gets you to the success, because I feel like it's all about how do we create success. But what people don't realize is part of being productive. Like you always think about doing and doing. How can I do more? How can I, get that, gold star? How can I just, like have all this wall of accomplishments that people can see and be like, man, you are really killing it. But what we don't see, and this is all still a part of my big journey of trying to continue to be productive, but having fun, is understanding who you are as part of that. Right. And so the productivity that I generally try to sell, a lot of times I'll talk about, today I had a bad day and it's okay. But sometimes when we think about productivity, it's like you gotta hustle and grind, and when things are hard, you gotta just push harder, and you gotta have this right mindset. And yes, all that stuff is good, but you have to do it in a way that feels good to you still. And we tend to forget about that. We try to push ourselves past the limit that we're beyond, and then we're almost negative diminishing returns on productivity.
And I
And
say this
so,
with love because probably half of the Philippines right now who's not watching this because they're working so hard, like there's could use a dose of that, because so many people think that productivity really is about the grind, the grind, the grind. Even if it gets Machiavellian at times, you got to get to that outcome. And to be so focused on outcomes is really, we can get addicted to everything, anything and everything in life. And
yeah.
I could see people getting addicted to some really not nasty parts of productivity, but some well-meaning parts of productivity, like the little dopamine rushes that come from checking off a box, right, and being productive and getting it done fast, but then becoming addicted to those rushes. I know in the Joy Revolution we talk about it being called the hedonic treadmill, because you're just running harder and harder and harder and not really getting what it is that you truly want, which is this inner sense of peace and joy. Um,
Hmm.
where the outer productivity that we're being marketed is, no time to savor, baby. Get back on your ass and start hustling again. Get back out there again. Go out there and do something. So, like, I think that it's really. Do you hear that submarine? Um, you know. Oh, April! April! Okay, we can have that staring contest. Is it me, y'all, or is it April? Okay, I'm gonna figure out who this is. We're gonna see if we can get the show back in order here. Guys, is it me or is it April? Guys, am I on or is April on? Tell me. Help me, guys. Help me help you. I'm screaming out to the universe. Let's get April back on the phone, everybody. Oh, so April, so you guys can still see me, right? Okay, so while we get back in touch with April, what are your thoughts on? Oh, April went offline. So it's probably all that snow over there that's dropping. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna read some of the things that's right. That's right. Shave it. Azraela Yankovic. It's good to see you. The best name on the internet. Azraela, democratic coaching. Good stuff. Azraela, I would love to hear what you have to say about democratic coaching. By the way, April, you've got a 5-minute window. I'm opening this up. Hit some hearts. Let me know that you guys are still with me. I'm opening this up. My Skype name is Uday Maniac. EUDAE Maniac. MANIAC 08. If someone wants to jump on the show with me, it's an open mic. If April doesn't make it back in 5 minutes, so write it down. EUDAE MANIAC IAC08. If you want to talk productivity, if you want to talk coaching, let's see what goes on. Let's see what goes down. Thank you for hitting the hearts and sticking with me, guys. Donna Ray, always good to hear your laugh. Ha ha ha! That's how she laughs. And Samantha, it's good to see you. I did that too with stopping to reach out to people. It's interesting, right? Have you guys ever done that experiment? That experiment where like you're the one that's reaching out to people and then you stop reaching out to people to see if they reach out back to you, if they reciprocate back, and see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens with if you've done that experiment. I've done it with interesting results. Write in, let me know what's going on. And of course, if you want to jump on with me, April, we're down to 3 minutes. EUDAE, you die. Maniac, MANIAC 08 on Skype. Hit me up. I'll put you on the show. That's right. We're gonna go ahead and do that. I hope everything's well on your end, apes. We're gonna hold the fort for our sister right now. The energy of words are affected. My interpretation and intention. I want to hear more about that, Walter. Write more about that. And then of course there's this idea of power versus force. Power being us and living and acting our truth. Force is being about the grind. I absolutely love the distinction between power and force. Force almost being sort of like this act of nature that's like not in harmony with anything, and it's just kind of it goes with your agenda and against everything else, and it's an us versus them mentality. And power really being this idea of creating change, but creating change with grace and ease and joy. Alyssa, I've got you on standby. We're going to have some fun in a second, sister. Go ahead. I see you. I'm going to bring you on in a second. Walter, talking about force again, is using catabolic energy. For those of you who aren't in the IPEC coaching community, catabolic energy is that energy that drains you. It's the energy that feels heavy, right? It's the energy that when you let go of, like, have you ever felt like or said something along the lines of weight being off of your shoulders? That's what Coach Walt is talking about today with power and force. Let's see. I'm on. She's coming back. I don't see April. You guys can hear me. Yes. I died. April's trying to figure it out. Azraela, let's talk about what you're saying here. Education is being democratized by MOOCs and that type of thing. MOOCs or books. Azraela, you've got me totally lit up. I love it. If only I weren't doing yoga, I'd totally hop on. Amazing. Maniac 08. That's it, guys. I'm giving away my personal Skype. That's the way you get on the show. So from here on out, for anyone who's stuck around this long, if you ever want to call in, when I ever have a guest, Maniac 08 is basically the phone line if you want to ask a question live, and I'll try to pull you in. I'll show you how it works in a second. It's not connecting. April, we love you. We want some more of you. We'll have you back soon. But guess what? Alyssa, to everything, turn. I've never met her live. She's coming on the show now. Pick up the phone, Alyssa. You're on the golden mic, son. Okay. She's coming on the show. Oh, she's on the show. Alyssa's on the show. Look at this. This is called editing at its finest. Alyssa, LIALYSSA, twist. Light. What is up, sister? You ask and you shall receive on the golden mic. You hit me up earlier today. Look at the pink hair.
Oh, yeah, the pink hair.
Game recognized game. So, Alyssa, welcome to the show.
Thanks, buddy.
Still Golden Mic 145. And by the way, you still will have your own moment to shine. Thanks for stepping in. When it happens, it happens. Literally about an hour ago, I was reading your text to me saying you wanted to come on the show and talk. So guess what? It's time for you to shine, baby. It's time for you to shine. This is the first time we've ever talked ever.
No, it's not. We hung out at HPS Live. Do not lie to this audience, Mark. We had a moment.
Did we hang out at HPS Live?
Also, your hair is sticking out the side of your ear.
That's not hair. That's blood bursting right now because, like, I'm really embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed. So let's go there. Let's talk about this today. Hey, Apryl, I'm looking at you now. We're sending you love. I loved where we were going with the show. Let's go and hit reset next time and let's start it again. If you want to try to come on the show again, we're just gonna hold the fort because we know that this is your space right now, Apryl. So if you want to jump back in, text me, let me know.
And I'll just step out. Like, if Apryl comes back, I will just step out. This is absolutely her show.
Okay, let's see what happens if I do this. With the show, let's keep... Oh, okay, so Apryl is back on. Alyssa will have you on the next show. Where did you go? You scared me!
I don't know. Can you hear me okay?
Yes! Never leave me!
Apparently, my computer decided to just not work.
Okay.
So, I had to restart my entire computer. I don't know what happened. I was like, you froze and everything slowed down, and I was like, what is up with my internet? The internet seemed to be fine, but anyways, sorry, Alyssa. I was like, she's shining for me. Oh my God.
We've got your back when everything goes down. Alyssa, if you can hear me, we'll have you back on the show for sure. That was amazing to talk with.
I'm going to be Alyssa Twist Light now for just a few seconds.
Let's do the Alyssa Twist Light. So,
everything sassy and I don't know what word. I'm like flustered now because.
Well, let's go back and
technical difficulties happen to me.
Yes, well, let's go back and reground. Essentially, a lot of people have talked about the idea of Kaizen. This is adding a little bit to your life every single day to get to an idea of optimal productivity. What you really have been talking about. No, you didn't offend Alyssa, not at all. We just had to have you on. We had to have Apryl back on.
It's part of my mission, right? Getting these awesome people to shine that don't necessarily get to be seen. So look, now Mark, you have to have her on the show.
Absolutely. When the show is on your network, Apryl, that's what's going to be the best. That's what's going to be the best.
Let's make it happen. Alyssa, connect with me. I'm going to have you on my show. Let's do that.
Oh my God. We're putting Alyssa on a whole tour now. We're putting her on a whole tour. Well, here's the dealio. What you talked about, Apryl, is something different than the idea of Kaizen and addition. You talked about addition by subtraction, which is the notion of via negativa. We take something off of our plate every single day in order to create more and more space to go after what it is that we really want. We might be, and the traditional notion, this is why I was not making fun of, with why I called out half of the Philippines, is that there's this traditional work ethic notion, and the United States gave this to us, that if you work harder, you'll get more. But in reality, if we're looking at the top nations in the country, for example, Scandinavia is straight up about what can I take out of my life so that I can live a full life, right? Could there be this possibility that you're overbooked and you can't be at full capacity, you know? And I think that's what that sort of that shadow emo period you just went through, you know? Were you listening to like My Chemical Romance and stuff, walking through the streets?
What was I listening to? I don't know. I was actually very quiet. Like, yeah. I don't know, if you go through, like, if I had to look through, I mean, I was just not posting much on I was just not seen. I was not visible. Some of my clients and, you know, dear friends of mine who get to see me every day, they saw me go through it, and you can see the difference. Like, in the last couple of weeks, I'm like, I'm back, you know, and now I'm like, okay, but I got to keep simmering a little bit. Like, I can't just burst out like every few and then have to go into that dark period.
Were there people concerned about you? Like, hey, they know that this is a part of.
Yeah, I mean, and it was like, oh gosh, I've been in my business for 4 years now, and yeah, I think it was one of my exes who talked about this concept of like trying to graduate every 4 years, and once you get out of college, you don't get that opportunity to graduate, but you can kind of get a lot done, or there's a lot of stuff that you can learn in a phase of 4 years, right? Like as freshman year, just figuring it out. Sophomore year, you're like, okay, I'm trying to stabilize. Junior year, you're like, yeah, I'm the shit. And then senior year, you're like, all right, I'm ready to move on. And so it was just this natural cycle of like, okay, I need to figure out what's next. Like there's some great stuff that's working. There's some stuff that I can improve, but what does that look like? And yeah, I think there's this piece of, I think we all want this idea. And I wrote this when I was at IPEC, like, what is my next vision for myself? It's like, I'm doing more. I'm making more by doing less, and not making more money, but it was just like, I'm creating more, but by actually working less. So I really I don't think I work 40-hour work weeks. I am working, but it's like personal life, like all of these like things that I'm doing in my personal life. I travel a ton. Like 5 years ago, I didn't go on vacation like maybe once a year, maybe, small, tiny little vacations. But I travel with my family almost every month, like 10 out of 12 months of the year. Like we just have so much that we have time for now. But I'm still working through all that. And sometimes I shut down, but it's having this full life of all the things that matter. And I think that the other piece of productivity that maybe we haven't touched on is that the reason why I can do as much as I do, because you asked that question at the beginning, like, what do you not do? And I don't swim. But what is it that I do that allows me to be as productive as I can?
Yeah.
And it all comes down to routines, which is such a simple thing. But when you can get your brain into that place of autopilot, you're wasting less energy. And so I just know that, like clockwork, I have a certain subset of things that I need to do, and it can kind of get boring. But imagine all of the other things that I'm able to do now because I put things on a routine.
Okay.
And
I have to run to the restroom again. I need you to answer the question, why do you want to be more productive? Dude, it's one of those days. What's going on here?
It's like technical difficulties. Gotta empty all that.
I don't care anymore. I'll be back.
Okay. All right, people. And I'm gonna try to see if I can look at all the comments because I don't know who is. I'm taking over Mark's show right now because he's taking a whiz. Okay, so I don't even know what the question was that he asked me. Why do you want to be more productive? I think that you really have to think about why you're on the earth, right? I think it goes even deeper than the productivity. I think all the things that we do in our life are a means of wanting to just be happier, more fulfilled, have more fun. And so you want to be productive because it's going to lead you to those things. If I focus on the things that I want to do and that I need to do, then I can have more time for play. Like that's really all that my life is about. Like how can I fit in more things that I want to do so that, and what do I need to set myself up as in order to be able to do those things? If I want to travel more, if I want to take improv classes, if I want to, go to 3 conferences in a year for my business, like what do I actually need to do to make that happen? Because a lot of times we think about this, that, or the other. We need to do this because of this label that we put on ourselves. And it's not about that. We can actually create whoever we want to be because we are all different. We are all unique. And we can live our lives any damn way we desire, right? If I want to, wake up, drive my kids to school, and then go back to bed, I can do that. But I also have to think about all my other commitments. So one of the things that you can do as an action step, I'm trying to see if I can see these comments. Walter, I'm going to get to your comments in a second. But here's an exercise that all you guys can do. I did this with my coach. She said, write down a list of all of the things that you're committed to doing. I had a list of about 30 things, but I, basically take 5 minutes and brain dump. These are all the commitments that I have made, either to myself, to other people. What organizations am I hooked into? What am I committed to doing? They could be routines that you are non-negotiable. Like if you have a meditation practice that you absolutely have to do every day, write that down. Take a look at that list. I'll tell you what's on my current list. I have it written down, but I've gotten rid of a ton of stuff. So at the very forefront, I've got family and health. Those are my top two things. Then below that are my private clients and this other program that I run called the Accountability Success Circle. Those are all of my other clients. So that is the big part of my business. There's the marketing and all the work stuff that comes with my business as well. Speaking engagements, making connections with new people, just trying to, be out there and just live my life and live by example. I've got this body language training that I'm still currently working on that I signed up for almost a year ago, and I wanted to get it done sooner, but there was just so much that was going on. I also have something on my list where I was taking Taekwondo with my kids. I put that on hold while I can focus on some of these other things to make this list a little smaller. The university that I went to, I do webinars and workshops for students. And, that is a kind of an ongoing process, but not all the time. I'm also part of the alumni admissions council at the place that I, went to school. And this other conference, I'm the local lead for their attendees here in Chicago. I do a reunion at my college every 5 years. I'm part of the PTA. I have 2 kids. I have a husband. I have, every so often I'll be invited to do an improv show. And so I've got so much on my plate, and there's other things that I still want to do. Like I have this list of I want to grow my YouTube channel, and which is going to be like the start of whatever it is that I'm working on. There's so much that I have on there, but if I don't write things down, if I want to make more money, that needs to be a commitment, because there's got to be some sort of action that actually leads to that. So there's other things that I want to add on, but until I can really get down to what's most important, I can't do everything, right? If you can have your hand in a lot of different pots, different things that you do, but everything's just going to move a little slower, and you have to come to terms with that and be okay with that idea. And I'm okay with that with myself. I know that I have a lot of things on my plate, but I need to maybe hone it in a little bit more so that I can move a little faster on some of those things. So I hope that makes sense. I think that really thinking about your list of commitments is going to be huge. Okay, Walter. Nothing. I do nothing, but nothing gets left undone. Learning to focus on being, not just doing. Our action comes out of our being. Absolutely, 100%. We tend to forget that who we are and how we are being impacts how fast we can move. So if you don't take a look, and I think every coach knows this, so if there's a lot of you who are in those coaching spaces, a lot of people will think about, here's what I want to sign up for coaching for. I want to build a business. I want to, write a book. I want to do these things. Those are external, but you have to really look at what's underneath that. You need to look at that foundation. Otherwise, the output that you're going to have is not going to be as strong, and it makes you less productive in the end. Let me see. Walter, you also said being more conscious and aware of what we truly desire, learning to say yes when we should be saying yes, and no when we should be saying no. Yes. So learning how to, and what's interesting about improv is that it's always yes and, right? But yes and can be a bad thing when you're in the land of the overcommitted, right? You just don't want to, you want to be able to say no, but there could also be, hey, I'm going to say no to this, but, and let's think about this, either table it for later or whatever. And Mark's back. Hey, did everything?
I am back, and I love the fact that you can just run a show. I was just gonna sit on my couch and just watch this like it was a TV show.
I had to make up for my dropped call.
Well, there's something about I just want to show you how good of a product endorser I am. When I'm on your channel, there's something about Firehouse Subs grape soda that is so refreshing, but it goes right through me, people. Firehouse Subs grape soda.
I like it too.
For the golden mic in all of us, right? So
yeah.
This show has gone off the total rails, but also at the same time, there's something about this idea of both productivity and I don't know about you, but being on our toes, thinking on our feet, your computer goes down, someone else steps in, you come back, I got a wee-wee, all this stuff going down, and just trusting the fact that everything will turn out the way that it was supposed to turn out. And as I'm coming back here, like I'm coming back to Walter talking about the Tao principle and like conscious awareness and flow state. So like there is something that's still going on here that's pretty amazing. So I am curious about the third thing, which I think it's the third natural wheel of this is what exactly is productivity? What do you want? Why would you want to be more productive? And then the idea of like, what could we do to be more productive now and be productive, not from the traditional sense, but from the new definition that you presented to us, the new sexy definition.
Yeah, and I think I kind of jumped the gun on that and talked about it while you were gone, but I'm going to reiterate because this is an important action step for people, right? Sometimes you need to throw the spaghetti on the wall to be able to like clean it up and do it again. So what I was mentioning to people is take some time, do a brain dump. List all the things that you have, all the things that you have that you are currently doing, all the things that you want to do down the road. Just get it all on a piece of paper. And then start to take a look at what are the things that are calling out to you. You don't have to do it all in that moment, right? Because sometimes doing all of it all at the same time moves everything very, very slowly.
Or it could cause total paralysis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and cause total paralysis. But there is something about what the productivity experts that are out there are saying by like focusing on the one thing. And not to say that you can't juggle and do multiple things, but just acknowledge that the progress might be a little bit slower and be okay with that. Make that choice, because if you have multiple things that are important to you at the same time, you kind of have to, make sure that you're moving those things forward, but it might just be at a different pace. So anybody who's like, I want to get my business up and running and I want to like just grow my following and I really just want to get myself out there, that's great. But if you are doing some other things at the same time, understand that the trajectory might be a little bit slower, but it's going to serve you in the end. And so take that time to really get a list of your commitments, even if it's just like, I'm coordinating all of the, weekly social plans in my life for my family, that even if I'm not there, like, figure out how to delegate. Like that's like a huge conversation piece that makes you more productive. I could talk about productivity all day long, but it's actually very, very simple. The only thing that you have to do is actually commit to creating that list and understanding what's on your list and where you're spending your energy, so that if you don't like something that you're doing, you can figure out a way to get that off your plate and then focus on the things that are more fun for you. Because when you get to this place where you're doing all these things that you love, like your day flies by so fast and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do today? But then you actually write it down and you're like, holy crap, I just had a full day of like clients, and then I went to a networking event, and then I did a talk, and then I did this, and I prepared for this, and blah, blah, blah. And I had some social time and ate lunch. That's a win.
Yeah.
Like you can actually, do that. And I will say that maybe this is just me, but there's nothing more attractive to me than someone who gets shit done, but is doing it with this beaming energy off their shoulders, with just such confidence. And that is the productivity that I'm trying to pull out of people.
Gotcha.
So
that's awesome. So at what point in your life, because I do know sort of Apryl 1.0, who was very type A plus, very get shit done oriented, and like very get shit done oriented, like at all costs, even at cost to bald spots showing up on your scalp, right? Like at what point did that hit you over the head, or did it subtly tell you like, yeah, that's not the way that I want to go anymore? In terms of the grace and ease that you do preach your productivity now.
Yeah, I mean, it all. The hard thing is that like it took the bald spots, and I don't know if I've ever I don't know if I've ever showed them to you, but they were like this big, like on the back of my head.
A big ass bald spot.
Yeah, I'll share maybe like in the comments like a picture of some slides that I'm doing in this talk tonight, where like it started, and then like a month later it was like even bigger. And I was stubborn for that first half. Like, I was like, okay, thank you, universe, for telling me that I need to change, but let me just try to see if I can like change. Like, it was kind of like the fake kind of change. Like, okay, I'm just gonna, put on some tough skin and figure it out. But that's not it.
Oh,
Like,
you agnostic.
I literally, like, it just kept on growing, and it was to the point where, like, people could see it, and I had long hair back then, and I was, like, putting in, like, hair extensions, like, just, like, the clip-on, whatever, just to make my hair look fuller so people wouldn't know, but I had to submit to that.
Yeah.
And realize that, like, okay, I can't do this, and I want to be in this place where I want to prevent people from experiencing this like type of breakdown that, where your body starts to react because you're not doing it because you're so stubborn. Like I'm really stubborn. Mm-hmm. And it didn't start growing back until that point where I was like, okay, I'm going to just let it go. And I'm going to sit with this shame that I feel about leaving a really great job with, making good money, really like high up the chain. Like, I had to let that go. But then the beauty of that is that I would have never been doing any of this stuff without having that happen to me. And so, it is my goal to try to help prevent people from doing that. But it's also hard because I know that a lot of people are stubborn and they want to push themselves to the limit because they feel like they have to. Yeah. And I want to just say to that, like, no, you don't have to. I mean, we all want to work less. Yeah. So how do we do that? And how do we do it in a way where we don't feel guilty? And so I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, there are days where I'm like, man, I did too much today and I overdid it. But I'm constantly actively reflecting with myself and saying, okay, I was super productive today. And there's some days where I'm like, I'm not productive. And some days I feel guilty about it. And some days I'm like, and I don't care, Yep. It's a work in progress. But if I could be the example for everybody to show that like wealth and success can come from somebody who is, admittedly doing less, like maybe that can shift the way that we do things in our society.
That's amazing. Walt is dropping right now a quote from Joe Dispenza. Change is a delicate balance between intention and surrender, and I think that the intention piece has always been there for you, and it was that surrender piece where you're just like, I don't want to let go of this one. Let me squeeze it a little bit harder. Let me hold on to it harder. Sure. And the harder you squoze, the more maybe that bald spot was showing up. I'm really grateful for you, homie. And like, there's very few people, like, usually I'll hold it during my shows, but like, there's definitely a few people where I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. She can take it. And you're definitely one of the ones that like, I know will hold the fort, and the show will probably even get better when I'm not around. So like, what will you do when I'm gone? What will you do when I'm dead? April will carry on with the show. Y'all, the cheerfulmind.com, thecheerfulmind.com. If you haven't been there, go there. And if you haven't been there in a while, go there now. And also check in the upcoming months, because what I really am looking forward to the most is that there's going to be a metamorphosis in the Cheerful Mind, because the chief operating officer, the chief energy officer of the Cheerful Mind is changing. And as she changes, you're going to see some changes going on to the website. What are you most looking forward to in some of these changes to the Cheerful Mind over the next year, 3 years?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's the opportunity. I mean, I think that there's the past year has been like, people are like, oh, April, you should be on TV. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was definitely like keeping myself small about that, because I'm like, it would really be fun, and I've got some friends who like totally embarrass me. They're like, she's going to be the next Oprah. I'm like, okay, whatever that means. I didn't even really watch Oprah when I was, love her. But I'm like, what does this mean? But I really do. Like, I'm not the type of person who like loves to just be like on the forefront and like on stage and like the person who, is getting all of the attention, right? I kind of like attention, but not in that way. But it is a part of me. And this is funny. When I was in 8th grade, I said I wanted to be 2 things when I grow up, my future career. And this has nothing to do with electrical engineering, which is what I went to school for to become. So I said I was going to be a journalist and a model.
Nice.
Those got food
Very
sometimes.
Filipino of
Yeah,
you.
very Filipino. No, but it was like a lot of other people were like doctor and nurse and teacher and all that stuff. But I was like, no, I'm gonna be a model. But anyways, so it'll be interesting to see if that's those sides of me, the eighth grade version of Apryl Zarate back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
will come back
Yeah.
in the 40-year-old version of myself and really just I don't know. I'm excited because I don't have fear about it right now. Like at some point, I'm gonna be like, oh crap, I just signed myself up for something huge. But
Yeah.
and I don't even know. I haven't even done enough research to see is there anyone else that's doing this? Like, can I piggyback on that? But I might still just create it on my own.
Love it.
But it's going to require more people. Like, this is going to be something that's bigger than me. I can't do it all myself. And so I'm going to be reaching out to people, helping them. And it's going to be my job to promote this amazing stuff and let
Absolutely.
people be seen and heard for the great things that they're doing. And I want it to have an entertainment spin on it because that's the best way to absorb information. It's like edutainment online or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I will get there, and yeah, it's going to have a lot of conversations. But if anybody is out there and wants to just share their perspective on media and what they would like to see, that would be really important to me as I'm kind of in this research phase. So
Well,
feel
as
free.
the first talent and the first show signed on to the AWN, the Apryl channel, whatever the your channel will be called,
Yeah.
I promise to uphold the idea of not working that damn hard. Apryl, you've said it all. What a fun show. And Walters is absolutely right. I love her energy. We don't succeed in isolation. We succeed in collaboration. Apryl Schlueter, there is a golden mic that is coming down from your frozen Chicago house right now, and it is coming to rest in front of you. This mic is familiar to you because you've spoken into it before. A different Apryl at a different time spoke into it. No, it is not Magic Mike karaoke. And so, Apryl, you know that this golden mic translates into every language all across the world. The world is listening to what it is that you have to tell it. Apryl Schlueter, your golden mic is live now.
Hey there, sweet, sweet one. You matter. And maybe I said this the last time that the golden mic was in front of my face. But I'm gonna say it again. You matter. And no matter how small or how big of an impact you're looking to make into the world, people are watching you. So shine your light because people need to see it. And I want to see it, so connect with me on social media. Okay.
Amazing, amazing. Now put on some clothes. No, naked and afraid.
Great job.
So I want you to take that golden mic. Yeah, that's right, Laura Kunze. We got somebody on from Chicago today. Take that golden mic, Apryl, and hold that in your hands. You remember those visioning activities, Coach. Now smash that golden mic like it's hot. Smash it into a million pieces. Apryl Schlueter, amazing, amazing episode. We have to have a special shout out as well to Alyssa Twistlight, who was willing to just jump on at a moment's notice. Walter Aguilar, you matter, and that's sexy. You're sexy, Walter Aguilar. Laura, it's good to see you, and thank you everybody for sharing this out. Pay attention to Apryl, thecheerfulmind.com. Apryl and I just have one more question for you. If you're feeling good and you're living life to its fullest purpose, what is your responsibility to change history for the better? Apryl and Mark, Filipino twinsies, signing off for today. This is GML 145. Thanks, y'all. Take care. Apryl, I'm logging off. I got to get ready for another client. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye. Love you.
Bye.